Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Tim Brown, and this is Monday Morning Marketing and Coffee. No coffee today, just marketing. And really, I'm talking about small business and entrepreneurship this morning, talking about working on your business versus in your business. This is probably a familiar concept to you guys if you're an entrepreneur. Uh, Consultants and wonderful people who write a lot of books often talk about this, working on the business versus in the business. It's very easy to get caught up in the trap of doing urgent work all the time, doing work that's required of you at this moment, that you've got to get done, that you've got to get done this week, that your time gets full up. Your time gets 20, 30, 40 hours of just urgent, or this needs to be done this week. But my chat this morning is going to be challenging you guys to think about how to get into spending more of your time creating systems and creating a business model that doesn't require your constant urgent attention. So first thing I'm going to talk about is this book, E-Myth, or E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Wonderful book that just talks about what he calls the franchise model. And the franchise model is where you think about it as if you were to add another franchise to your business. You're like, for instance, if you were to add another location, would you have the systems in place? Would you have the processes written down? Would you have the things that would allow you to duplicate your business in another spot? And that is something that I think people don't think about enough. But his idea of the franchise model is not necessarily so that you can create a franchise. It's so that your processes are actually systematized and specific. And if you have these systems down to the level where you could franchise, it's great for you as a business owner too. It's not just so that you can franchise. It's also so that you know how to recreate the result over and over again without tiring yourself out, even if you're a one-person business or a couple people business. So it's a great book. If you haven't checked it out, check out E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. We get attracted to this idea of the lone craftsman, the brilliant artist, the individual who can carry it all on their shoulders. And he talks a lot about how, and Michael Gerber talks about in this book, a lot about how it's kind of BS. Most people need a team of some sort, and at least you are dependent on the people around you in some way. So it's very hard to have a business where you just spend 100% of your time doing the work, doing the thing you love, doing the whatever it happens to be that you're a craftsman at. You have to create these systems and sell, etc. So I think what it is kind of a challenge to not romanticize entrepreneurship. Or you won't move. You won't take the next step. You won't do the hard things, get the processes in place, identify your ideal customers, things like that. And those things are super, super important. Something I've been thinking about lately is the process as differentiator. So what is I always ask this to people, what is your differentiating feature? What makes you different than the competitors? If you're talking to a prospect, or let's just say somebody you want to help with your business, with what you do, you want to help them, but you also are kind of competing, right? You're competing for their attention, you're competing for their time, you're competing for their money. And is it just your personality that sells them, that puts it over the edge? Or is your process a competitive advantage for you? Is your specialty just your personality, the things that you do as an individual? Or do you have a process that's built, that's functioning, that's ready to be implemented by other people, that is your specialty, that is your competitive advantage? And my challenge to you this morning is, how could you try to create a little bit more process around this competitive advantage, than just your individual self? Because I think of it as almost like, if you are the only thing that makes your business different, you're you're essentially building, you're now the servant, the constant servant to this business. But if you build it around process and you build processes that are in place that other people can implement, now you have something broader than you. You have a legacy. You have systems that people can carry out even if you weren't there. And, not to be grim, but, we all die someday. And who knows, you might have a health issue, things like that. Things where somebody could carry on the business when you're not there with constant attention. And this is a challenge for me. I'm not perfect at this either. I feel like my business right now is, I need to be here a lot. But the point is like I'm trying to create these systems and put them in place and build that legacy, build that system around the business so that I'm not the only point of differentiation, that the system is, and the system can carry on when I'm not giving it constant attention. And that's my challenge to you guys this morning. Maybe a call to action might be try scheduling a 3-hour session this week to work on the business versus just putting out fires and urgent things. A lot of times I do this on Saturday and I call it fun work. So it really can be fun creating the business model, creating the systems that will actually create value even when you're not giving them constant attention. And as always, try to do a little bit more of what you love about your work this week. And thank you for joining me for Monday Morning Marketing and Coffee, this time without coffee. But you guys have a good one. All right, bye.